Hello everybody, welcome back to the Trackmania games. We don't have a host anymore, it's three casters.
Oh, wow.
But we're going to muddle through it as best as we can. We've just got off the back of that game now. We're getting into the final kind of throes of this one. 32 players remain here. We're starting to whittle down all of these guys, and this is the kind of part of the tournament where you feel like every single game is a banger, and we were just looking at some of them as we wanted to know which one we were going to watch, and pretty much everyone we looked at was like, oof, this is going to be pretty insane. So we are going to be saying goodbye to some players. We're also going to be saying welcome to the lower bracket to some players as well. We're going to be jumping into an upper bracket game next. But guys, just before we get into that, run me through that last game, what the kind of highlights were for you, G-Geek.
Well, for me, the last two games that we've seen, for me, I would have to pick one highlight from each game. I would say Thane's standout performance. So, as we said earlier on, solid. And as far as the other match is concerned, the comeback from Yasuo that came a bit late, and the way that he got eliminated was just too painful to see, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a rough one, but I guess, even if you go back to the first match, even though he got through, I'd say Neuro as well, having problems on Surfside as well. I think just all the drivers in general having issues with the Surfside finish. It's such an evil one, and it's one that, again, I saw somebody in chat say you would think by now, everyone would know how to hit it. Yeah, you hit it 100% of the time, buddy. It's a downhill slide with that launch. Yeah.
The thing is, it's a lot more. It's very deceptive. It looks easier than it actually is because of the way that the way the convex platform actually works and how it affects the steering of your car. So, if you go ever so slightly late on the input, you can just get thrown to the bottom, or if you're just a little bit too early, well, if you're too early, you get thrown to the bottom, or if you're too late, you get thrown to the top or the side. So it's a pretty easy one to kind of miss, in my opinion.
Right, well, we are looking up towards the upper bracket for this one, on towards the quarterfinals here, and it is Loso, Tween, Barbos, and Jadon is the match that we have kind of decided on, which is just, that's a rough one for all involved, right? It's going to be a difficult game for everybody. You just can't make mistakes here. This is basically like, I would call this a semi-finalist or finalist kind of game. These are the players that we are going to be seeing make a deeper cuts into this one, don't you think, G-Geek?
Yeah, I also think so. This is you're totally right in saying that this is an early semifinal because just look at the caliber of players. It's so insane. Yeah. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I think the days of all British players making it through the winner bracket rounds are going to be over by the end of this round. Especially, I don't want to. Don't take this as a diss against Jadon, don't get me wrong, but yeah, this is going to be a rough one because when you see how Loso was performing and how much of a scarecrow he was in its match and how Tween is also performing, Barbos, this is going to be also a player that I'm going to be keeping an eye out on for Team Germany. Jadon is going to have a very, very steep hill to climb.
Okay, but if I can make a counter argument here, maybe devil's advocate, as you will, we saw Jadon actually take it to the Slovakia team before when we did the tech team. So he can compete with them. He can win rounds against them. I think if Jadon can keep the nerves in check, there is a serious argument that he could be the one making that deep run. And maybe this turns into his breakout performance. Am I going to predict that going to happen? No, but I think there is a possibility. I'm thinking like 35-40% chance he can make it through.
All right, well, since we're doing predictions, since we've mentioned that now, I think I have to represent Team GB here and say Jadon is going to get through. I hate to say both Slovakians go down, but Barbos is my other kind of pick for that one. Or maybe, oh no. This is the problem with this game, is everybody is really good.
Pick the big 3 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Jadon and Loso, actually, I think. There you go.
Oh, wow. Peer pressured him off of it.
All right, G-Geek, you take the target off my back there. Go for it.
It's a Slovakia lockout. I'm sorry to say it, but it's looking like a Slovakia lockout any day of the week.
Okay.
Wow.
Informal.
Any day. Look, I agree. Loso's getting through, but it's going to be Barbos going with him. I'm going the German, and I'm going Loso. Maybe it's the safest pick, but I think they got this.
Every player in that lobby has been picked to go through by one of us. That's amazing. Well done, guys. I think that says a lot about the kind of game we're going to watch.
Yeah.
Sorry?
That covers it off nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the exact kind of, the mentality we have to have coming into this game. I mean, every other game going on is also going to be pretty cool, right? Obviously, in the upper bracket, we still have all 4 German players. We still have all 4 Team GB players, 2 French players, plenty of action. And then there is also going to be the lower bracket happening at the same time. Hopefully, a few POV streams or community casts will be going on for those ones, so you won't miss out on too much of the action. But yeah, lots of really big players that are kind of under the chopping block right now, and I'm excited to see who will be going through on that one. But I think we can switch now over maybe to the casters. And Formal, you can have a break, mate. It's been a rough couple of games in terms of your voice, I think.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
Okay. Very good. Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. Although we're going to need him back in about 40 minutes, so maybe not. Right. So, G-Geek, again, you predicted both Slovakians here. Is your professional opinion?
That's what I think. That's what I think. Loso looking unstoppable. I think this is very much there for the world to see, and you can even see the stats for yourself and all of the hard data by going to ecircuitmania.com and check out the tournament page, because you get, of course, the results of the match, but you get all of the detail with the round times, round by round, and including the rotation. You get the best times from each player, the median times from each player. See, this is a tool that I really, really love to delve into whenever we get onto the competitions like this. For instance, just to take a look at the Loso match, just to give a bit of an example, if you take a look at the Loso upper round match that he played against Klovny, Levon, and Maui, you will see that the first 8 rounds, 6 of them have been Loso wins. And you'll see also that on serve size, he's been consistently 54.3, 54.2, etc., etc., 0.2, 25, 0.2, 18. This is the kind of data that you can actually have access for not just Tech Solo, but for every single tournament in the Trackmania games. And for that, there's only one place to go, ecircuitmania.com.
Yeah, exactly. It's being a real big help for us as well, I think. Obviously, being able to keep up with the scores on every single game is very useful when we, have 5 different things across our 2 monitors all over the place. But there is a look at that game. There, how Loso has been doing on this one. You can see that this is a player. I mean, we highlighted Loso obviously in the pre-show. We knew that he was going to put up a good performance, but yeah, still impressing us. Still definitely letting us, validating our claims about Loso in this one. But yeah, this is the hardest game so far for I think any of these players. Realistically, this is the toughest lobby they're going to be in, and I don't think it would even be an upset if any player got through, right? I don't think there is a player that you could say, if they came first or second, would have been causing an upset, right? I think it's that close.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Every single one deserves to be in the semi. That's the thing. It's the quarters. Yeah. It's not the semis. That's really what
this is the upper bracket, and they have another chance. I mean,
yeah, but still, it's the quarterfinals in the upper bracket still. But it's kind of weird and really hard to wrap my head around it still. As we go underway with the match, Loso, Jadon, Tween, and Barbos. Unfortunately for Marek, Tween, he's going to be the first one to make a mistake and fall over a second down. His compatriot Loso going toe-to-toe with Barbos for the lead of the race. Heading into checkpoint number 7, Loso in the lead by the skin of his teeth before checkpoint 8. Jadon a little bit further removed compared to where he would like to be. Slight clip by Barbos, which is going to be extremely costly for the German, promoting Jadon up into second place, but Loso locking in that first 10-pointer of the match, 0.030 to start things off within half a second to 0.6 of his own world record. Jadon in second, Barbos in third, and Tween with those early setbacks finds himself 3 seconds down in last place.
And that's the thing, if there's ever any lobby that is going to punish you for a tiny mistake, it's this one, right? I can probably... there is not going to be around like some of the ones that we have seen in previous lobbies. That's unfortunate from Jadon, a full slowdown off of the start there, that we're going to have all players, scrambling for the finish line after having a wheel touch or a crash out at some point during the round. Pretty much in all cases, there's going to be at least one player who puts up an insane time at this point. Tween once again falls back and might actually fall back with Jadon here, although Jadon is still scrambling to catch up, but it's Loso in first place once again. The most consistent player, I would say, so far that we have seen in the Tech Solo tournament.
Yeah, so far Tween not having the best of times here on the opening rotation on Magneton as we go side by side again with Barbos and Loso. This time Barbos is in contention up until the final corner. Oh, I was going to say Loso had it, but he manages to save it. Despite that, that was a very, very scary clip, if I do say so myself, at the entry into the final block, and that was enough for Barbos to sneak in and get the 10-pointer. Loso will still lead the match by 2 points at the end of that round, but I don't know about you, but I felt my heart rate go a little bit higher after that clip from Loso there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is the thing, right? Last time we saw Barbos, it was on this map able to just, you know, had a clip at the start of the map, went down well over half a second, I think almost a full second, and made it back into first place by the end of the round. And I think that's what you're up against here, right? Is Barbos in the tail end of this map. Scary. Tween 3 times in a row having a wheel clip earlier on. Never mind, that was Ratchet. Look, same flag. I don't know. Same thing. Maybe the Germans are just amazing at the final part of Magneton here.
Yeah, but currently Barbos looking very, very solid, and Loso this time being on the back foot with a 3/10 deficit with just a couple corners to go before the end, and it will be Jadon hitting the exit wall, or rather the outside wall, in the corner of checkpoint 9 and dropping down to 4th, thus salvaging the round of Tween a little bit, as well as that of Loso, moving up to 2nd and 3rd respectively, but Barbos dipping into the 54s with a .957. As a result of that round, Loso will actually still will relinquish the lead, but will still be very much within contention of that lead, given that it's still very early on. Round 4 out of the first rotation here on Magneton is underway.
Well, for Jadon and Tween so far, nothing really coming for them in terms of luck. And they're going to need to find a little more consistency than they have needed in their earlier games to get something done in this one. You cannot let Barbos and Loso fire away this far ahead early on in the game, right? You know, we've only got so many points being given out to players, and still a 10-point difference between 2nd and 3rd already. In Jadon, a tiny wheel clip, but at that point in the map, you really have to be as accurate as possible. Tween also well further back. I mean, down by 7 seconds at this point. Loso has pretty much guaranteed himself 3rd position at worst. Oh, sorry, Jadon has. Loso in 1st position, and once again, just gets out ahead of Barbos by another 2 points here. These two are running away with the show.
They're running away with the show, and also look at the time that Loso was able to post, at .826. This is getting into scary territory now, getting into low .8s and high .7s. When you consider the fact that it's a .4, the world record that Loso currently holds, it is a very, very strong display and a strong statement of intent from Loso after briefly relinquishing the lead, saying to Barbos, hey, I'm still going to be in there. You're still going to have to deal with me, especially for the last 2 maps as we go on to Chiaroscuro next. And this is a map where Tween will be looking to actually mount a fight back. Only 14 points after the first 4 rounds for Tween, who just does not seem to be a happy pupper on Magneton, has never been able to find his rhythm, has never been able to get into the groove of it. He's going to take advantage of Neuro's map maybe to go for a full reset and actually start his match.
Yeah, and same story really for Jadon as well, just not able to find a rhythm there in that first map. Needs to warm up into things a little bit, I think. Obviously, it's been a little break, about 40 minutes since these guys have played in the upper bracket here, so they had to wait for the lower bracket a little bit just so that we could catch up with everything, and therefore maybe just a slight warm-up period for them. But hopefully Jadon and Tween can get back into things, make it a little bit of a closer affair. We don't want these two to run away with things in a match that we said was going to be incredibly close.
Yeah, I hope they don't make us liars by the end of the day, because the way that first map went, it looked to head that way as we go into round number 1 out of 4 here on map 2, which is Chiaroscuro by Neuro. Currently, world record held by Azox, so 100.197. I reckon when you get to the .6s and .5s, this is when it starts to get really, really scary. Tween going a little bit high on the exit of sector number 1 will thus be thrown back into the lead of the race and into the lead pack of the race as he falls back down to 3rd, actually going toe-to-toe with Jadon for the benefit of 3rd place. Loso versus Barbos. Here, the story repeats itself again. It's the 2 front runners from Magneton going at it here on Chiaroscuro. It's advantage to Germany with Barbos leading by 700ths of a second. But here we go with the last 2 corners. Who gets the best setup? Who gets the best exit speed before the risky finish? Barbos with a great setup. Same for Loso, but it's roughly identical. And it will be Barbos with a 10-pointer here. And And here we go into the point fours. 0.498.
Wow.
Wow, that is a very, very solid time. And Loso, not too shabby as well, with a mid 0.5 in there. Jadon in third, Tween in P4. This is looking very, very racy now.
Yeah, and for Jadon and Tween now, the question is, can you even mount any kind of momentum here against two players who look like they have come into this game so well practiced that, barely any mistakes from either Barbos or Loso at any point during this. And not only that, but able to set blistering times as well. Usually when you're, a consistent player, it doesn't mean that you're the fastest player in the lobby. But for these two, they can have their cake and eat it at the same time here. But this is a much better round from everyone involved, staying tight as can be. Tween in fourth position, but only by half of a tenth for the time being. Jadon backs up into fourth position now as well. It's still Barbos and Loso leading the charge. No matter how slim the margins are between these four players, they are just holding off the two players from Slovakia and Team GB all the way until the very end right now. Barbos still in first place, looking to arc ahead here. He hasn't really had a good time in searching for points over everybody else. Maybe Tween can make that jump into second place here, but no, Loso stays in second, holds everyone off. A great round from all involved, only 2/10 between everyone, but it's still the exact same standings as last round.
Picture the scene, right? You're driving this map and you drive a mid 100.7. How would you react if I told you, yeah, you're not getting off the bottom of the scoreboard, buddy? This is how close and how stout the rounds are, and how stout the 0.549 from Barbos actually was. Even though he drove a 0.4, this is still very, very competitive, what we're seeing from Barbos for Team Germany right here as we go on to round 3 out of 4. Barbos, Tween, and Loso, 1, 2, 3, and it will be Jadon actually with a very uncharacteristic mistakes after what we've seen in the first 2 rounds here on Chiaroscuro. About 6/10 down. This is not looking good for the player from Team GB. Barbos once again trying to sprint away into the lead, but not finding any kind of opportunity to shake off the two Slovakian players. And unfortunately for Loso, he's going to be left behind after that wall touch and that nose slide that he just got. It's going to be all down to Tween, where the hopes of Team Slovakia will rest, but the hopes get dashed almost immediately with a very shaky ramp transition and hitting the top of the checkpoint arch before checkpoint number 10. And it will be yet again Barbos with another 10-pointer, 0.576, just like clockwork. The mid 0.5s and the 0.4s keep coming out from Team Germany. Loso, 9/10 down, an absolute carnage of a round where Barbos has not put a foot wrong, and we're at the halfway mark of finalist status. As rightfully pointed out by chat, my mind was still somewhat set on the lower bracket belt for some reason. I thought we were going to 100, but no, we go on to 120 until finalist.
Yeah, at this point, it is starting to get even more. Well, the stakes are higher, right? And as they should be in a match like this. However, it really is just going the way of having two well out ahead. If it carries on like this, Jadon and Tween have no chance of getting back into things. Already a 24-point gap between second and third. And that's just about how many points third and fourth have already. So it's going to take just as many rounds to even get to 50 for Jadon and Tween. And then who knows where Barbos and Loso will be at. They might already be at finalists by that point. But this is a much better round here for Tween and Jadon. Tween out in first place, Jadon in second. Loso and Barbos nowhere to be found. Half a second and 7/10 down as it stands. Jadon needs to try and get something done over Tween here. I mean, both of them need the points desperately. They're going to get them, but it is going to be Tween with the lion's share. Jadon drops into fourth position by not by much. 6 points for him, and Loso and Barbos are just going to have to settle for 4 and 3 this time.
Now, this round here that we saw is going to be more of the exception rather than the rule, because Tween and Jadon first and second, sure, but they were largely held by mistake from Loso early in the round, and then Barbos, who chimed in with a very, very hefty wall clip, which was, again, a bit uncharacteristic compared to what we saw in the map, and I guess from earlier on in the overall rotation of the maps as we saw. So this is a nice opportunity to capitalize on, but both Jadon and Tween are going to have to get their act together as we go on to the third map of the rotation, which is going to be Surfside.
Indeed, yeah, I'm excited to see now if anybody can, now that we've warmed up a little bit, we saw that last round, maybe Tween and Jadon gained a little bit of confidence off of the back of that, I would hope, are able to just try and kind of give them a run for their money at this point. You just cannot let Barbos and oh man, Loso just get too confident, right? I think if you get confident, that in tech, that's the kind of exact situation where confidence is really going to get you in a flow state, right? And make it easier for you to win rounds.
Yeah, let's hope for them that they did not get themselves out of the groove with those setbacks later on in the Chiaroscuro as we go into round 1 out of 4 on this rotation of Surfside, and back-to-back hits from Jadon and Tween, as a matter of fact, and it will be down back to the front runners again. Loso and Barbos first and second, and that was a very unfortunate hit at the pole before checkpoint number 3 or 4, thereabouts. It was still in the first sector that both Tween and Jadon actually found their demise, as we see Loso now emerging into the lead about a tenth of a second ahead of Barbos as we go into sector number 3, checkpoint 11, transition to flat, and then uphill right-handers. They were going so close to clipping on the inside with the left side of the car for Loso, who still holds onto the lead by 43 milliseconds, who gets the better finish. Barbos with a full attack on the inside. It's not going to be enough. Loso clocks in a 54.198. Again, solid times being driven 3/10 away from Epos's world record. Barbos in second, Tween in third, Jadon in fourth, and Loso starts to mount a fight back to Barbos.
It's starting to heat up, at least between the top 2 here. And maybe something else can be done down in the depths now. It's starting to feel like with the other 2, and really nobody is splitting up, right? It really is just a couple of points between everybody involved. But Jadon, I mean, has a wheel clip and can't recover in time, slams into the wall. He's completely out of this round, and that just means it's all down to how many points everybody else can scrounge out of the pool here. Loso so far ahead already. Barbos down by 6/10, and Tween right behind, so Barbos cannot let up the pressure whatsoever, lest you let Tween back in the door.
Going into sector 3, and look at the gaps, how they actually have grown 7/10 almost between Loso and Barbos. Loso not putting a foot wrong whatsoever. Tween sitting in P3, not really in with any chance of actually catching up to Barbos again, and we're continuing to turn up the wick little by little. We were on a 0.19 earlier on. This time we're on a 0.17, and you don't see it, but Barbos acknowledging that, and yeah, I think this is really at the point where you can only respect and just be in awe of the consistency that Loso has displayed so far in the first 2 rounds here on Surfside.
Well, that's the thing, right? I think obviously Tween and Jadon have made a significant amount of mistakes. We have watched several of them happen, right? But at the same time, the reason I think they are making so many more mistakes than at any other point in the Tech Solo tournament so far is just that they're up against 2 ridiculously consistent, ridiculously fast players. They're having to push for every single millisecond that they can, and it's causing them to have a more tough time. Oh dear, Barbos magnetizes to the wall there. Wrong map for that one, and Tween up in first place now. It's just causing everybody to have to push so much more, and when everybody's having to push all this much, you really separate the wheat from the chaff, right? Everybody who is more consistent is able to get better results out of that one. Loso stunning for first position, but Tween stays up there. Just about gets through the finish line. I thought he was nowhere near making that, but Tween manages to get a very valuable 10 points.
I thought he got bumped up by the bottom and didn't hit the trigger. Yeah. That's how close it was. But we said 0.19, 0.17, then Tween comes in. 0.102. That was a great round from Tween there on that previous iteration of Surfside as we go into round number 4 here on Whiskey's map, which means we'll be circling back to Magneton on the next rotation of this particular match as we go on with Barbos, who takes the lead away from Loso. Jadon and Tweed third and fourth at the moment. Loso fighting back, and you can see all 4 regroup within less than half a tenth. 175 milliseconds now as Jadon loses a little bit of speed on the way towards checkpoint 6, trying to go through checkpoint 7. Nah, not quite. Still has a bit of a deficit of speed compared to the top 3. Barbos going towards the outside a little bit, nearly lost it, manages to keep it on the road. Loso in the lead, Tween and Barbos locking horns for second place as we go on to the 12th checkpoint in the final few corners. The final checkpoint is looming on the horizon. There it is, and then the risky finish. Loso versus Barbos. Loso's got this under lock and key, and will clock yet another great time. He saw Tween's 104. He says, I won't quite raise you, but I'll get close. 0.108, just 4 milliseconds off of Tween's time. That was such a great map. And Loso is 3/4 of the way there towards finalist status with 90 points.
You can feel how fervent the competition is between these four at the moment now. I mean, every single player is pushing as hard as they can. And for Loso and Barbos, it's looking good for them. I mean, some of the times they're putting up, Tween as well, put up an amazing time, of course, but so far struggling for consistency to be able to do that. And it's just leaving Jadon fallen by the wayside. I mean, look, we kind of predicted that this was going to be the case, right? Jadon, maybe not the strongest player in the lobby, but keep in mind, we're down to the final 32 players of this tournament here. We have whittled down the players by so much, and not only are we in the last 32 players, we're in the final 16 players that haven't lost a game yet in the tournament, and still, it's looking this, far between, right? The top and the bottom of this lobby.
Going on to the second rotation of Magneton, you can see the scores on the left-hand side of the screen. 90 for Loso, 84 for Barbos, 57 for Tween, who's starting to hit the point of no return. He needs to get points fast, and he needs to get them now. Otherwise, he risks being sent down to lower as we go on with Loso, currently fighting to stay relevant in the fight for the lead. Tween holding said lead, Barbos and Loso second and third, and look at this tightly knit group. 3 ghosts locked in within 36 milliseconds as we go. Double crash from both Barbos and Loso. That is a very, very unusual occurrence. Tween gets confirmed into the lead, but Jadon is the main beneficiary of that double bump from Loso and Barbos, moving up to second. As we go into the final corner, we've seen plenty of heartbreak there, so we are not safe from seeing any disaster happen. But Tween makes it through, does he? Yes, he does. He gave me a little bit of a heart flutter for a second. I thought he got a slowdown on the way into the finish ramp, but he does get a very, very critical 10-pointer at this late stage of the game.
Especially with the points limit at 120 this time around, you cannot give up at any point. For Tween and Jadon, they are still, in the game, right? We have seen so many of these not only go to triple finalist, but quadruple finalist at this point, and you just cannot give up at any point. As far as I'm aware, the quadruple finalist game, I can't remember who it was Pika or something like that, was down at like 60
Pika,
points.
Coco, and Ignite, yeah.
Exactly, had such a deficit to the rest of the players, still made it up into quadruple finalists, made that upset happen late game. So for Jadon, you just cannot give up there. Rounds like that can happen. It can gain you a bit of confidence, you can get going. In this round specifically, back down there, but there you go. Loso has made a mistake, brought him up into third place. Tween, however, has been gaining consistency, has dropped back, and it's now Jadon again, massive beneficiary of small mistakes, and if he can stay consistent, slow and steady, will win the race here. Barbos in first, and Jadon takes another 6 points out of that one. Barbos will be up to 97 here alongside Loso. We're just getting closer and closer to that finalist stage.
That is such a shame for Tween, looking to go back-to-back in terms of round wins, but it was not meant to be with that very hefty hit of the inside apex of the long left-hander before checkpoint number 8, and that is going to be costing him dearly in his fight to stay within the top 2 fight. And look at the gaps in the points, 97 points apiece for Barbos and Loso, sharing the lead here in this match as we go on to round number 3 in the second rotation of Magneton. It's going to be Barbos in the lead, Jadon up into second place, Tween and Loso third and fourth. Loso going for the full inside trajectory. He's going to be a little bit close on the way towards the checkpoint 6 turn. It's going to be Jadon with a small clip though, which is going to be promoting Loso up into third. Tween clipping in the bridge. Loso is up to second. As we go on to checkpoint number 8, Barbos still holding the lead by about a 10th to a 10th and a half from Loso as we go on to the final corner, checkpoint number 9. Are there going to be any wall touches there? The answer is a yes, and it's going to be Loso who will be coming up the worst for wear. Drops down from second to fourth. Wow. And with that, he will be into the triple digits, but Barbos will get a 7 points lead.
What a ridiculous series of events there at the end. And for Tween and Jadon, they are counting their lucky stars every single time something like this happens. I mean, they're getting... Look, they're close? No. But they are getting closer as time goes on, and that is just leaving the door open for something ridiculous to happen at the end of the game. It is always possible here, and especially Tween is looking to be able to start putting up these times, even if it's less consistent. Loso backs off once again. Another wheel clip sends him down into the bottom of the barrel there with Tween, with his compatriot there. Barbos in first position. Jadon now just needs to keep it clean until the end so that he can once again profit off of the losses of the rest of the players in the lobby. Barbos will try and eke out more difference between him and the player that shares his skin but does not share his nation at this point here. Barbos staying up in first. Jadon right behind, looking to gain another 6 points out of this one. It looks like we're going to be holding positions right until the very end once again. 4 and 3 points go to Loso and Tween, but this is much, much better now for just making things a little bit closer. Barbos within 3 points of finalist.
Yeah, and Barbos will get finalist regardless. He just needs to reach the finish line at this point. Yep. This is the best possible outcome that Barbos could have had to get those back-to-back 10-pointers, already sitting on the 7 ending scoreline, as I guess I could say it. This is your best case scenario, because you just need to drive the car home and bring the points in, and then you'll get a handful of, I wager, a handful of uninterrupted attempts at finalist status, because with Loso on 104, unless he mounts a very feisty fight back, he's gonna get at least 1 guarantee, but he could get 2 if things go haywire for Loso as we go on to the second rotation of Chiaroscuro.
Yeah, this is starting to heat up a little bit. We were worried at the very beginning that this was going to be just completely a blowout between Loso and Barbos, just getting through with no contest whatsoever. But now they're starting to kind of slow down towards the end of the match here. Barbos arcing out ahead, but Loso starting to drop a few points, get some wheel clips happening, and that is just allowing maybe Jadon and Tween to gain a little bit of confidence. Tween especially, who is starting to get closer to that triple-digit mark now. It's just going to start getting more and more fervent as we go on here. Barbos, guaranteed finalist after this round, no matter what, but everybody else, they're the ones who are looking to gain points from this one.
Loso emerging in the lead after the first couple of checkpoints. Barbos, Tween, and Jadon still locking in 5th, 2nd through 4th. Loso looking to try and make a little bit of a breakaway run for freedom right now, ending sector number 1 in the lead by about 80 milliseconds from Jadon. But look at how tightly knit this group is between Jadon and Barbos. Tween getting a little bit left behind, heading into checkpoint number 6. The man from Slovakia looking to try and join his compatriot towards the lead of the race, but he goes a bit too wide and hits the wall before the turn from checkpoint 7, and he will be out of the running. Loso, Barbos, Jadon, 1, 2, 3, going into the transition of the ramp, and we went a little bit too hot for Barbos, clipping with the left rear, and thus it will be Jadon versus Loso. Loso looking to move on to 114 points, and he will get the 114 points locked in. Barbos will swoop in and take 2nd place away from Jadon, who falls down to 4th after missing the finish altogether. Tween salvages, with big air quotes, an extra point, but it still hurts for him, as we do see finalists, either 1 or 2 attempts completely uninterrupted, because Loso does need a 2nd place in order to get the finalist.
Jadon had such a good line in that final part of the round there that if he did not brush his wheels against the wall, he would have had far more speed in towards the final jump there. But as it stood, it's an uphill, right? If you do clip your wheels there, that's it. You have lost out all of the speed that you had, and you're never regaining it. He just about made the finish, but everybody else overtook towards the end there. It's the worst place you can possibly crash out your car. And that is going to lose him out on a very good opportunity to gain some points. It's Barbos on the finalist, but he's in 4th position to begin with here, and the 2 Slovakians holding him at bay, stopping him from being able to get anything done here. Tween maybe, at the very least, hoping that he can stop the German from getting anything out of this one and bring his teammate into the finalist foray with them, but might actually deny him from finalist if he stays in 1st position right now, and it looks like that is going to be exactly what happens. Tween manages to get himself 10 points, and Loso with 6 manages to get just about to finalist here. We have a double finalist situation. It's the 2 players that we highlighted towards the start of the round. Now it's just getting it over the line. Tween close enough to profit off of this, but needs to put together a lot of good runs here.
He needs to capitalize on the round that he just did, and you saw the nice time being dropped down because it was a .434, which is extremely stout at this stage of the game and at this stage of the tournament to be dropping in the rounds. But he does need to continue piling on the good performances, and he's got 2 rounds, including this one here on Chiaroscuro, to try and make that happen and move up to 114 if he manages to win both. Moving on to the first double finalist status round for Loso and Barbos. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4 Slovakia and Germany, with Loso Barbos locking horns for the first place. place, and Tween in third, making it an interesting three-way fight, who was going extremely close to the edge every single corner in checkpoint 6 through to 7. It's going to be Barbos, Tween, Loso, 1, 2, 3, Jadon without any say in the proceedings. He can do anything but watch. Loso will be the first one to fall by the wayside. He will be cheering on his fellow compatriot and teammate to try and keep the dream alive for at least one more round. Barbos versus Tween. Who's gonna get it? It looks likely to be to the line. Tween clocks in a 5:04 and denies Barbos by 19 milliseconds, and Loso is still alive for the overall win once Tween moves into the triple digits.
Work is not done though, still plenty to go here for Tween. Needs another 16 points before he can get himself into finalist as well, and that's enough points that Barbos and Loso could just get first in each of their respective rounds and close him out of it. So he needs to be getting first positions here. He needs to be stopping either of these two, even though he may want Loso to be able to do well as well. He needs to stop his teammate if he wants a chance at moving forward in the upper bracket here, and that is not going to help him. He goes far too inside, clips his wheel on the light pole, and it is just a fight between Barbos and Loso for the time being. Jadon a little too far away to have a say in the proceedings here between these two. Barbos is so far ahead as well, almost 2 tenths now from Loso, who's trying to push with every fiber of his being to get anything done. Stop the German from making it happen and moving forward. The Germans have had so much success in all of these events so far. He needs to stop this from happening, but he's too far away to get anything done. And Barbos is the first qualifier into the semi-finals in the upper bracket. Loso is going to have to wait for another opportunity as Tween is only up to 108 points.
That is such a shame for Tween, but kudos to Barbos for getting the job done here on that final round of this rotation of Chiaroscuro. And he thought that there might be some more trouble ahead, because given how some of the rounds have been going on the Chiaroscuro and how the fight back from the Slovak players have been really been insane, especially on the part of Tween, who dropped in that 0.43. Unfortunately, it might have been just a puff of smoke and not anything came out of that particular round for Tween, which is a bit of a shame for Slovakia, but he now has a tough decision to make. Well, I guess it's not all that tough. He's going to fight for as much as he can, but he's got a 12-point deficit to make up to Loso, and at the very least, one Slovak player will be sent down to the lower bracket by the end of the proceedings. And Jadon, we've said it was going to be a bit of a rough outcome for him, and he's definitely trying to hang in there as much as he can, but with 81 points, it's about to be curtains.
Yeah, indeed. And, I mean, look, it's the solo event, right? You cannot hold anything back against your fellow countrymen, even if you want to, right? Even if you want your country to do well. Look, in this case, Jadon isn't catching up, right? This is now we go racing between Loso and Tween, and they just have to fight it out between them. Right now, Loso in first place, and it could all be over here on the first round of this track if he manages to keep this up. But maybe Jadon awakens here finally in this one. Hey, look, I mean, 40 points, not undoable. Hey, four wins in a row could definitely get him back up into finalists as well, but that would be very difficult to do with Loso arcing so far ahead. He could just close things out right here, right now, and Tween, he's out of the competition. It's just between these two. As long as Loso gets into the finish, which he does with no problems whatsoever, putting together a 54.14. That's it. Curtains for Tween and Jadon. They're going to move down into the lower bracket. It's not over for them whatsoever, but finally, a Team GB player is moved out of the upper bracket.
And I gotta say, when you're driving against a player who drives a 54.14 after 8 rounds in which the map has not been played, how do you fight that? That's the neat part. You just don't. Like, Loso has been so incredibly consistent in his times. 0.19, 0.17, then we saw a 0.10 for Tween, then a retaliation from Loso with his own 0.10, and then drove a 0.14. He is an absolute unit. Yeah. And it kind of pains me to see Tween go out like this. He just, frankly, he has not been able to get into the match as soon as he was able to get started. Magneto proved to be the bane of his existence, not able to get any single round right in the very first rotation. Started to give back in it in the second rotation, but at this point it was just too little too late, and the gap was just not there to be caught back.
Yeah, well, we are going to go straight to a break. So if you want to keep up with the proceedings, you can keep up with them on eCircuit Mania. There are a few games still ongoing that are in their final rounds, but we need a little bit of time for our producers to take a quick break until we get into our next game. So join us very shortly and we'll be back with the next round.